I know I say this all the time that it's a privilege and a pleasure, and it truly is to have any of our guests on this podcast. But when I introduced Gráinne Walsh, who I can refer to now, without making you sound old, Gra, an OG, been here from day one. Back when the sun wasn't always shining and things weren't always going as well as they are. But how are you keeping?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm busy with things inside the ring, outside the ring. I'm preparing now for the nationals after Christmas and trying to just. I always have like kind of one eye set on setting things up for after boxing. And I think that's an important thing that I probably neglected for a long time. So I'm trying to just, chat to people. I actually only had on my Instagram story this morning about how great people are for wanting to help you. Like I always turn myself off asking anyone for help because I was like, oh, if they say no, if they say this, if they say that. But if you ask people for help, they'll either say no or they'll be willing to help you. And I find that in the last couple of weeks, that's been brilliant. People have been so helpful. So yeah, busy with plenty of things going on anyway.
And I haven't chatted to you, I suppose, on air. We haven't had you on here in a while, but we've never really been out of contact. And I have to say, I'll be honest with you, it's been really great to watch. And for want of a better word, I suppose, without sounding too bougie, you've blossomed. You've come into your own since those injuries, since those dark days where you, and I think the reason people are so willing to buy into your journey and so willing to back you and get behind you because A, you don't look for it too often, but B, because you were always open and honest, you were always out there and people could see the highs and some of the very low lows of Gráinne Walsh's career.
Yeah, like I suppose like any story, it's never a smooth journey to the top. And not that I'm at the top, but like I've had my fair share of ups and downs. And I think all the downs make the ups feel a lot better and you appreciate them a lot more. And I look back on my career and I think like when I first came into the high performance program at like 21, and like I took so much of it for granted. I just thought like this was the norm. And it's only when you get older or when you lose it all for a couple of years when I was injured and then you get it
Mm.
all back. I was like, if I ever get this back, I'm gonna cherish it. And like I'm still in that mindset now because I was humbled so much from taking it for granted and nearly lost it all. So having to really work hard to get it all back, I'm just so grateful to be able to do what I do. And long may it last. I think it's when you kind of approach towards the latter end of your career as well that you're like, God, how much longer am I going to be able to do this for? And you're nearly just grateful for every day. So that's the kind of mindset I have now. But I'd be trying to tell younger people that as well. But as well, you can't tell anyone to do anything. You have to kind of go through those times and do things the wrong way to realize the right way for you, you know?
Yeah, well, listen, we're not going to be writing off this year. There's not too much mileage on that clock, so and we're definitely not giving away any ages or questions like that of that sort. So listen, there's plenty of good days ahead. For anyone that hasn't seen our previous episodes, or if you've been living under a rock, or if you're new to, I suppose, to listening and to the story, the short version of a long Gráinne Walsh story is started out as a Shamrock Rovers and a League of Ireland player under 17 and up, involved in that for a while, and somewhere along the line we still can't figure out quite what it was, but it would have been a lot safer and easier to stay on the football field, I think, than it would traded it up and broke into the boxing scenario in your local club. Incredible journey, and then just as it was about to kick off, horrendous injuries, one after the other, and lots of tears and lots of dark down days. But thankfully they're all behind us. And I always go back to a story that I kind of message you every now and then about. There was days you told me at the very beginning when you broke onto the team, and it's to be understood, I suppose. It's part of the process, the rite of pass and everything. The team members that didn't medal or didn't win, left the plane at the back door. Those days are done, lady. Those days are well and truly gone.
Yeah. It's one of those things like, as well when I'm doing the school visits and stuff, I talk about those experiences of I was nearly at the start, I was just happy to be on the plane. I didn't give a shit what way I came off the plane, to be honest. But then obviously like the better you get and the more experience you get, the more you chase those podium positions and coming through the airport first. But at the same time, it's I've changed my mindset on that throughout the years as well. And like the most important thing to me now is like actually having the people that were with, and I learned it through all the injuries. Like when I had those 3 years of injuries, I had, I could count the people that were there for me on two hands. Like, and
Yeah.
then when you come home with a medal, oh, there's every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to know you, and that comes with the territory of being in high performance sport. I think I just took things very personally when I was younger, and I think that was a mistake that I made. But like say for example in Paris and in Liverpool, having my family members there to share all of that with me, because they were there for all of the dark days. And I remember in the past I would have kind of not encouraged them to come to competitions because it was a lack of confidence on my behalf, because I was like, if I lose, I'm out, and they're after coming the whole way. Whereas now I'm like, I want them to be there and be part of this journey, whatever happens, because they were there for the good days, there for the bad days. I just want them there. And thankfully, I've been lucky enough to have them there for some of the best days of my career. Like
Yeah.
even a couple of my family members were over in Bangkok when I qualified, and then all of them came to Paris, and then a few of them over in Liverpool there as well. So it's just, they're the things that I really cherish now more than, your ego is more, oh, I'm walking out in the airport first. I don't really care that much about that anymore.
Yeah.
That's when you're younger and stuff. I think just when you get a bit older and a bit wiser, you realize that the simple things are what you cherish most. Like,
But I think they do, and I understand what you're saying, and you'll always be humble, and there's an age, and I'm not trying to age you by saying this, but there's generations. I mean, we look at the younger gen. I mean, that team that you're now leading, for want of a better word, that you're one of the senior members of, yourself and Michaela, and if Kelly was to come back in there and whatever else. But they're so comfortable with social media. They're so comfortable, and they'll do it in their own way, that they've grown up with it. I'm one of the few left that one of of a part of a generation that grew up without it. So it doesn't bother me. In fact, it's a real push this year to actually use it more than possible, because I don't like it. I don't really want to do it, but it is part of what we do, whether we like it or not. And I think, to be fair to you, whether it's your morning runs or your morning menus or your preparation, you're finding a Gráinne Walsh way of doing it. And I'd say you're noticing a difference. I'd say people are able to, in a way that you probably never expected.
yeah, to be honest with you, like I've never really been that bothered with the whole social media thing either. And like, I know, I just see the way the world is going now, and like there's so
Yeah.
many opportunities to capitalize there with social media. And like I was nearly trying to deny that reality for a while, but like it's just becoming more and more evident every day. I'm still not on TikTok, and I don't plan on making an appearance on TikTok unless I can be coaxed into it. Um, but like all the kids, everyone basically is on TikTok
Yeah.
now at this stage. But eventually, I might have to get there. But for the minute, Instagram is where I'm at, and yeah, I have tried to be a bit more consistency is what I was lacking, to be
Yeah.
honest. Because I was like, right, I'm going to make a big effort. I'd be consistent for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'd fall off the face of the earth. But I just think social media can be used for so much good, but it also triggered me in so many ways negatively when I was injured. And that was something that I really learned about, like, say, when I missed out on Tokyo and I was injured, all the people that I was preparing for Tokyo with went to Tokyo, and I was on Instagram at home crying, looking at everything I was missing out on. And I just found it so damaging. And I had to really ask myself honest questions like, what are the things that are triggering these feelings in me? And Instagram was one of those. So I had to just knock on the head for a while till I just
Yeah.
worked on myself and, did what was within my control. And that's been such a useful tool for me now, even like currently when I'm preparing for a competition. I'll be on Instagram on the way up, but about a week before, I'll just come off it. Like I did that at the Worlds. I just get off social media because I don't really want to be looking at what other opponents are doing or seeing this and that. And I remember one of the best quotes I ever learned was, comparison is the thief of joy. And
Yes.
like when I look at what other people are doing, whether it takes 1% of your focus or 50% of your focus, it's too much. And like I would rather just channel that into something else. It's not necessarily me reading a book and being, very like intellectually, I'm not trying to like be the perfect person, but like I would just rather channel that in something else, whether it be coloring. I love coloring when I'm away. I know that's weird because I'm 30, but
Really?
like it doesn't matter. Yeah, I always tell the kids in schools that, because they're like, people think you're too old to color, but I just think it's so therapeutic, and especially when you're trying to keep yourself calm in a high pressure environment. I just ditched social media, and it was from my first coach, Dima Dimitruk. He's was my coach from day one,
Yeah.
and he always told me like, people will be there to kind of suck up to you regardless. Like if you win a medal, people will be there. You don't really need the people clinging on at the start, because like, and I used to, this is sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but this is one
No,
of the
you're
things
fine.
that I tell the kids as well, is the fact that like I used to love reading articles about myself, like ego gone out of control when I was younger.
No.
And now I look at it and I'm like, all them articles will still be there when I log back on, but I
Yeah.
just don't need to be seeing that and thinking I'm the bee's knees before I actually get what I came here for. Do you know that kind of way? So it's been a bit of a full circle moment, but Dima ended up being right about most things, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, shout out to Dima as well. He did an incredible journey, and what he did for you early on in your career and through all those tough days as well. An incredible fella, an incredible coach. Hoping to
I
chat
wouldn't
with
have
Dima
got
at some
through
stage
without
as
him.
well. Yeah, he's a special fella, and what he's done for fighters, and like all these coaches do, and it's becoming more apparent now for like everybody knows of the Brendan Ingles or the Eddie Futches or the amazing Manuel Stewarts, but there's one in every town in Ireland. There's at least one in every town in Ireland that are opening doors at 6 o'clock in the evening, and they're not leaving till 11 or half 11 at night, and they're getting up and
Yeah.
going to work in the morning. Incredible stuff, and they're being a parent, they're being a counsellor, they're being a guide, and they're being a coach, they're being all of those things rolled into one, and sometimes they're having to burst egos, and so yeah, they're special people, and the more we can chat with them and see and speak about them and talk about them, the better, because it takes all these guys to row in behind the national setups and all that. You guys don't just arrive there by accident, and that's for sure.
Oh
So big
God,
shout out to
absolutely
Dima.
not.
And the work you're doing in the schools as well, I think, and I don't think I wouldn't say it's a case of an ego thing. I'd say reading your own articles, it's who doesn't want to read the Tullamore News, or doesn't want to read the Leinster Leader, or doesn't want to read the Kildare Nationalist, and say, geez, if he scored a goal or he did something. But I think the ones that print it off and carry it around in their pocket, maybe then it's a problem. But I
No,
think,
of course. Like human nature is wanting
yeah,
to,
of course,
like it's great to see people acknowledge what you've like your achievements and stuff. But I
yeah,
just focused too much of my attention on that and forgot about the main reason I was there, like before the job was actually done. But like, don't get me wrong,
yeah,
everyone, of course, loves being
of
acknowledged
course.
for their achievements. But yeah, just at the start, I was just too focused on that rather than what I was actually there for.
And Mammy Walsh absolutely loves it, I'm sure. I bet you there's a scrapbook somewhere that's going to be pulled out when the career is over. We won't ask her to admit it yet, but I'm sure somewhere along the line it'll be brought out once
Yeah,
everything is done.
it's actually it's all the one of the best Christmas presents I got. I'm not messing. Last year, my mom got me a massive a photo album of all like Paris 2024 and actually from Bangkok as well. And I got loads of pictures developed and just put them all in it. And that is something that I will cherish because
Yeah,
they're the things. Look, like the medals are, don't get me wrong, medals are amazing and they represent so much. But the pictures, like you have one medal, you could have 1,000 photos of the memories and the things that to get you to that point. So the both of them work in tandem, but like I just love looking back at those kind of things because you're like, oh my God, remember that time, and it always just brings such great memories back, and some not so great, but we won't get into
and
that.
it helps to have a photographer in the house as well. And big shout out to him. Some of the
Mm,
stuff and the photographs, your brother as well, incredible work. So it's a
yeah,
real family thing, isn't it? It's after morphing in, and not that it's morphed into, but through all the adversity and through the time. And I suppose with experience now, it's become, because it's probably not just about you getting used to the limelight and you getting used to the profile. It's about everybody, really, isn't it? And it's really coming together now for you all, and it's brilliant to see. Even the mammy wandering around in the background when you're doing your menus or you're doing
yeah.
your prep. It's brilliant. It's great to
The
see.
boxer vice, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, look, I've got such an amazing family, and like that for I am honestly just so grateful for them because like I would have given up long ago if it wasn't for them keeping me going, like, and my dad's faith in the whole journey and having them just part of everything. Like my brother was ringside taking all the pictures in Bangkok when I qualified, so he
brilliant
was literally
photographs
like
as well.
5 yards from me. Yeah, and like himself and Tara Mary were the only two Irish people that were taking that had actual press passes to take photos. So thanks to them, we have all those pictures to look back on. Otherwise, there would have been very little. Um, but yeah, it's amazing to have them so involved and like those pictures like the one of my favorite pictures is the six of us outside like under the Eiffel Tower with the Olympic rings on the
Yeah.
tower and like just to show that like it wasn't just me that got there, it was all of us and it really was a team effort. And I think that kind of community as well from being from a small town and like they'd walk down the town and like, oh, how's Gráinne getting on? My dad owns a business here in town and he was saying like that the amount of people that would just ask him, oh, how's Gráinne getting on, whatever. I'm sure they're dog sick of answering the question, um but it's great just to have the support from the people of Tullamore and stuff as well. It's just, yeah, I have a lot to be grateful for.
No, well, listen. There's a lot of dark stuff around, and I thought I did an episode a few weeks or a couple of months ago now about this too shall pass, and This
Yeah.
time of the year, I suppose, what we're 10 days out for Christmas. We'll talk about that in a few minutes because it's not always the best time for you boxers when you're training for the seniors and getting ready to defend the crown. But it's tricky enough. But there's a lot of stuff going on around the world. I mean, whether it's Sydney the other day, but we don't have to look that far. I mean, I'm in Ratangan here. I'm looking 15 minutes across as the crow flies. Horrific incidents. You don't need to go into the details of it, or we don't. We look back at
Yeah.
Ashling Murphy. We look back at all of the stuff. Whatever the root cause of it is, the one thing that's coming down to the bottom, and you can argue it all day and night, it's people's lives. It's people and it's kids more so than anything else. We grew up in a world looking at the Goonies, the Gremlins, looking at stuff, listening to stuff, and it was, you could take it or leave it. And more often than not, we left it and went to the green or went to climb trees and fall out of trees and roll down hills and come home covered in dog shit and do it all again the next day. And that was what it's about. So, about your role and what you're doing. It's not just yours. Talk to us about going into the school and the reaction, not just of your story, but I mean, there has to be a special reaction when the medal gets produced and when they see the medal and when they get to actually, for a child in Tullamore that mightn't have a great support network, that might not have whatever, that might not have the best set up at home, but for them, just for those few moments to lose themselves and to be able to say, I can do this. She did it. Look, I can do it. That must be a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a full believer in the whole like, can't see, can't be kind of thing. And I love the mentality. I remember being in school and seeing people coming in doing their talks about their success stories. And like I said about any story, there is downs to get to the ups.
Mm,
But I often just get people asking me, like, how did you not give up? Like, with all the injuries and everything that went wrong for you. But, like, I always explain it as if I had a crystal ball at the start of my career and could see 5 hand injuries and God knows what else ahead of me, I would have just been like, no thanks, I'm not strong enough to do that. But when you get one injury, you're trying to recover, and then it happens again. You don't actually think it's going to happen again and again and again. But it just happened to be the case for me, and there was times obviously where I wanted to give up, but like I said, the people around me and stuff kept me going. Like Dima was a massive part of that whole thing. He believed in me so much, like, and I love being able to tell that story now. Now, no, it's given me an amazing story to tell that I didn't give up, and that the most
yeah.
important part of that story is like when I actually get handed the ticket that I had envisioned of getting. You have qualified for whatever Olympics. I thought it might be Tokyo. Looking back, I was never ready for Tokyo. I was fully ready at the right time for Paris. And again, after learning, I didn't perform to my best in Paris, but I felt like my golden moment was nearly qualifying because there was so much against me in the lead up to that.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so if I was to go to LA now, I would love to be able to rectify some of not the mistakes, but like I suppose we all make mistakes, but like just to do things maybe a little bit differently, and I'd have the experience under my belt. But I just love going into the schools and giving the kids something to smile about and like to share my journey, that like no matter how hard it gets, there is still hope. There's always hope. And people think
Yeah.
that you just come in and you come into the sport and next thing you're at the top. Like that's not the case. That's often the
No.
times what Instagram shows. But to be able to be, one of the most important things to show is vulnerability. And I actually learned that from doing a speaking event where Johnny Sexton was speaking at the event only there about 2 months ago. And he was so visibly nervous getting up to do a speech. And he expressed how nervous he felt. And everyone was so shocked because it's Johnny Sexton. You think he's going to have everything, just he's able to do whatever. But like the fact that he showed that vulnerability, he just had the people in the palm of his hand and everyone was just hanging on every word he said. And that's been such a learning curve for me, is to absolutely expose yourself and show vulnerability when you're feeling it, and not to just not always put on a brave face. Like,
Yeah, and I think that's a new Irish thing as well, isn't it? There's a lot of these things, and it's not like we're able to say, oh, that's it's because it is. But Ireland was a set way for a long time, and there's one thing Ireland and we as Irish don't like too often is change. We like to be comfortable. We like to know where we're going, and we
oh,
like to know this is how
absolutely.
it's done. And especially for, listen, everybody, I think it's a human thing. Emotions are natural. They're real. They're there for a purpose. And I think when you can show them, it shows not saying that adults don't matter. Adults absolutely matter, and mental health is right at the foremost of the fight at the moment. But for children to be able to see somebody like Johnny Sexton or like Gráinne Walsh, or like when Kelly's happy, when Kelly's sad, Kelly cries, and it's so
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful. I mean, when you look at somebody, I mean, I spoke so openly about when we lost a friend earlier on in the year. John Cooney passed away after a fight, and
yeah,
even now it's a battle to say his name and not just get that. But if it comes, it
Yeah.
comes. You know what I mean? And it's part of life. And I think there's more harm done by bottling it up and pushing it away than there is by showing it. So what you're doing to be able to get into the schools and to be able to show them there's hope. And again, can't see, can't be. It's very much a real thing, isn't it?
Oh God, it is. And like the reason I got into boxing at the start was because of Katie Taylor. I just wanted to be like her. And like if I don't think I ever would have put on the gloves. There's no history of boxing in my family. So like a lot of people get into it because their dad's boxed, their granddad's boxed, and it runs in the genes. It doesn't run in the genes at all in my family. So like I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And it was only because Katie Taylor was on the scene at the time and she was preparing to go to the London Olympics and she had come from a soccer background as well. So I was like, God, maybe I'm more like Katie Taylor than I thought. Started boxing then. I met her and I was just obsessed then. And within 4 years, I was on the team with her going to the world. So that was a real thing for me as well to show like, God, in a short few years, if you put the head down, you can make good strides. And then sure, I started, like I got one medal and kind of had a little dip then because I thought I was better than I was and was slid back to square one. So it kind of, yeah, my journey's been up and down, but like having role models like Katie Taylor, Dima has been a huge role model for me. And even now, like, just seeing Kelly win two Olympic gold medals back to back, like, how can you not be inspired when you're training alongside these people day to day?
Yeah,
Having role models doesn't go away when you're older. Like,
doesn't.
I'm gonna be looking up to people for the rest of my life, and whether that's people that are younger than me, older than me, whatever, it actually doesn't matter. But I feel like you can take something and admire things in people, like across the board, whether it's someone walking down the street.
I think you're spot on. I think you're 100%. And I think the common factor in what we've talked about for the last few minutes is whether it's social media, whether it's newspapers, whether it's radio, TV, it's media. And I think it can work for you or it can work against you. You've become comfortable enough, and that's a battle. It is a real battle because trust me, even replying to messages and replying, it, people think because you do it, you're doing it for that reason. You're doing it because it's part of the process of becoming what you've become, and it's getting to battle and getting to grips with it. But we know all too well that and this is not aiming at anybody in particular. The media doesn't always work for you, and I know from this side of the sitting this side of the camera that there's stories and stuff you hear in the past and in the background, and you think, wow, like how is that? How can stories be put out that are so far from the truth, and then stories that are so bang on they never come out, and they can impact on an athlete, can't they? No matter what level of an athlete or no what part of your process you're at, whether you're young, coming starting off on your journey, or whether you're at the stage where you're medaling on podiums around the world. These stories, you had to deal with it without getting into the details of it. You had to deal with it in the build up to your own qualification, which was your
Mm-hmm.
life's work, your dream.
Yeah.
And it was, how did you battle through that? How did Gráinne Walsh manage that? And I don't mean to go to, if this is uncomfortable or if it's awkward, I
No,
will
no,
leave it.
not at
But
all.
it was, it hurt, it annoyed me, if I'm honest with you. I felt like posting and saying, hold on a minute here. But it
Yeah.
had to have been tough.
Yeah, no, I know what you're referring to and stuff. And like, qualifying for the Olympics is never easy. And like, I understand, especially in a sport like boxing, when I was selected to go to the qualifiers and there's three people at home chomping at the bit, hoping that I fail so that they get a chance. And that's just the nature of the game because
Mm,
I would be the same if someone was picked over me or whatever. Like I've been in that position before where I've not wanted someone to succeed because I wanted to go. And like whether that sounds rude or not, like that is
it's real,
just
isn't
it's
it?
either you or it's me. Yeah. Some people don't like to vocalize it that way, but I just I remember going to Bangkok and the pressure that was on me, but I think I just was so at peace with where I was and I wasn't on social media, thank God, because that
Thank
would have
God.
been just a very negative place for me to be when I needed a clearer mind. I had great people around me. We were in the most positive environment. The coaches just set the most amazing environment over there for us, and everyone just thrived. But yeah, obviously, social media is great, but it does have that darker side to it. But for me, the things that I've always learned, and another thing from Dima was the fact like don't speak first, like do your business and you can speak afterwards, and or let people speak for you afterwards, and people will have very little bad to say when you produce the goods. So I just got to where I wanted to get to with getting selected, and I let my fist do the talking, and that was I felt like that spoke louder
Yeah.
than any words could. So I didn't really feel a need to try and defend or justify myself or the coach's decision or anything like that. But again, I'm grateful for everything that happened. I was never ready for the first qualifier, even though I thought I was. And it all worked out the way it was supposed to work out. So
I
I
think
know what
I
you mean in regards to all of that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to harp on too much about it, but what I'm trying to process is, and again, for our younger people that watch, for younger fighters, whether it's, and you mentioned Tara Murray earlier on, I almost let that slip. What a household that is. They've got Tara who's leading the line with everything she's doing in the coaching and the setup in the club. We've got Shawnee and we've got the brother now, two champions. I tell you what,
Yeah.
there's nobody going to be knocking on that door with ill intent for the
No,
next while anyway,
definitely.
because they're incredible setup. And then you just have to look down the road and you've Dana following behind as well. So listen,
Yeah.
there's so many special stories that you really could and should be highlighting to show the kids, because boxing gets a, I often say boxing, sometimes it's the scruffy cousin, the scruffy relation of the
Oh, I
sporting family at
know, I
times.
know.
It only ever gets dragged out when something bad happens. But listen, we know the truth and we know the fantastic people that are around, and we know when, even in the dark times, that, okay, there's always going to be that one or two that revel in it, but there's the majority of them are special people who will do everything they can to help you along, and you're one of those people. When the Olympics is over, Gráinne, is there a danger? Not a danger. Well, I suppose it depends on the personality, and I think I know you well enough at this stage to say that you're not one of those. But is there a? We know the Irish athletes in the past have struggled when they come home, whether it's with a medal or without. There's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of. Is there a process of kind of recalibrating and saying, am I content? Have I got what I wanted, or am I going again?
Yeah, I suppose like everyone prepares you for, tries to warn you of those post-Olympic blues and stuff, but like nothing can actually prepare you for them, because although that you feel that they're coming, it still hits you like a ton of bricks when you get home from living in this bubble of a dream that you've had for so many years. That's how I felt.
Mm.
Like for the first few days in Paris, I couldn't pick my jaw up off the floor. I just couldn't believe I was there, honestly. Like, and call that imposter syndrome, call it whatever you want. But I think just because of all the things that had to come through and how unlikely in a lot of ways it was that I was going to qualify, and the fact that I qualified 5 weeks prior, I just found it really hard to deal with the feelings and the emotions of actually qualifying to come back down, to come back up again for Paris. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the experience was unbelievable. And then when I came home, thankfully, my little brother was home from Vancouver. So having him there actually kind of was the bit of the buffer. And then my sister, being a primary teacher, she wasn't back to school for a few weeks. So having them around really kept me going and kept me like, I was doing things that I didn't have time to do before. Like me and my brother are out playing 18 holes of golf 2 or 3 times a week, like just doing things that I wouldn't have had time to
Brilliant.
do before.
Yeah.
But then as well, when I was home, I kind of let it sit for maybe a week or two. And then I decided to go away on a trip. And I went over to Vancouver to visit my brother. Was going to go over for 2 weeks and come home. But sure, I decided then, sure, I may as well go on a bit further. I went to LA to kind of plant the seeds for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Went to LA, San Diego, New York, and then came home, because we don't get the opportunities often to travel for that long. So I was away for 5 weeks in total, which was, a big chunk considering I had just
Good.
been
Yeah.
flat
Good.
out training for the years prior. But that was brilliant. And that kind of helped me with not having too much of a pitfall coming home from Paris. But yeah, you do obviously dabble in the whole thought process of like, do I go again? What do I do? Even now, I'm just taking it competition by competition. I don't put the pressure on myself to be like, I'm aiming for LA. Although I would be amazing to get to LA and I would love to go. But like, I'm just trying to be the best version of me for each competition and let that kind of take its course and the momentum to build itself.
You've kind of preempted my next 2 points that I had there. There is no actual line, and there is no definitive moment where you say, am I going again? It's kind of, it's once you get through that decompression, or if you like, and you get to go get it out of your system for 5 weeks. Because I do keep reminding people, oh Jesus, great. A lot of the attitude, you'd be surprised at times. Oh, it's great, they're up there for 4 or 5 days in a hotel. Really? Spend 2 days in a hotel and not be able to
Yeah,
go anywhere or do anything, and you realize, and then throw in 2 elite level training sessions, high performance training sessions per day in between, and making
yeah,
weight. It's not all roses and sunshine either. So the 5 weeks away, it gets you to decompress. It gets you to, the big part of that for me was achieve the dream mindset, that you've done that. You've been to Paris. You've done it. Do I want to do it again? Because there's also the attraction then of the pro world. I mean, what's going on in the pro world in women's boxing at the moment, and
Mm.
I'm breaking my own rules by saying women's boxing because I hate saying it.
Ah,
But
no, I know what you mean.
I think at times no, and I genuinely I think at times you do have to because it's almost giving it its flowers as well as much as I'm just not I just don't like it. But it's kicking. It's kind of had a peak. It's dropped off for a little bit now. But we're looking at it go again, aren't we? We're looking at the influx of MVP and the signing of all the female athletes. It's about to take off to a new level, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, like Katie Taylor has so much to
Yeah.
be thanked for that, because I know I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now as an amateur boxer if it wasn't for the work that Katie Taylor did to get amateur boxing into the Olympics for females. And similarly, like she's broke down so many barriers as a professional and like made us kind of see like God, what opportunities there could be out there for females turning professional. And then like with the style I have, people have often said to me like, "Oh, would you think about
Yeah.
turning pro?" Like, and I have always thought about it, and like I wouldn't ever say I could never say never. But I've just never had an opportunity, a realistic opportunity that would tempt me away from the amateur scene. And I just know the difference. I probably am still a bit naive into how different professional boxing is, because professional boxing is a business. It's no longer about the love of the sport.
Horrible.
It's more, yeah, it's more about just money making. And I think I've gotten so lucky with the people that I've met in amateur boxing that genuinely care about me, that you're more of a commodity and a money making scheme when you
Mm.
turn professional. So I don't really know, but it's not something that I'm thinking of for today or tomorrow, but like it's something
No,
that I
for
would also
sure.
never say never of either. But there's so much money to be made out there in the pro game. It's scary, like.
Yeah, but again, as well, and Kelly verbalizes very well too. She talks about it like that's one side of it. But when you're on your own, you're gone from being in that cocoon with that team and those amazing people around you, whether it's physios, whether it's psychotherapists, whether it's coaching, whatever it is, no matter what it is, you're encapsulated by that. And when you leave that, you're on your own and you got to start again. And that's where the pitfalls come with the vultures and with the sharks of the world, I suppose, around where it becomes tricky. I'm not going to focus too much on that side, but what I do want to talk a little bit about before we let you go, and again, thanks a million for taking time. The big
No
change
bother.
in Irish society and in the world is attitude. It's mine because whether it's rugby, whether it's soccer, I mean, what the Irish girls are doing, and Katie McCabe, Denise O'Sullivan, whether we're looking at boxing, we're looking at Kelly, yourself, Katie Taylor, we're looking around the world, the rugby, everything else is taken off. It's we've seen in the past Deirdre Gogarty open the door, and culture and society wasn't ready to allow whatever the reasons were. We saw Christina McMahon do it, open the door. The talent, I believe, was always here, and probably at different times in history, it was probably just as good, if not better, than what we've got. But right now, everything seemed to align. Katie opened that door, and the rush through it, whether it was, I mean, the team that you're on at the moment. Talk to us a little bit. I mean, I'm not trying to make you sound old, but the talent that's coming through there, the girls that aren't, and I'm not ignoring the lads. We can talk about them another day, but the girls right now that are coming through, the girls that aren't making the number ones positions, are frighteningly
Yeah.
talented. We had Niamh Faye on here a few weeks ago, and she's
Mm.
Fast Hands has been been singing her praises for years,
Yeah.
and the hunger and determination. It's incredible, isn't it? It's frightening the talent that's coming.
Oh, it's absolutely unbelievable. Like the talent, like you said, the talent has always been there. It's just now it's really, I think, because the standard is, and it's so competitive now that iron sharpens iron and all that. So like the people that I train with on a daily basis, like I'm training and sparring with the two O'Rourke's in Roscommon on the daily.
Oof.
Like they'd be the ones that I would spar most often, and Kelly
Lucky
as well,
you.
because I know. High Rocks world champions and all, so I don't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
much I don't get much time off, but they're on you constantly. But like, and just such great people to be around as well. Like between myself, Aoife, Lisa, Kelly, I'd spar Kelly a good bit as well. And then like some of my best friends are Michaela, Shannon, Dana, Jenny. Like I'd be so
Yeah.
close to them, and like the competitiveness between everyone, and it's not even in the same weight category, but everyone pushes each other on. And I think when younger girls come into the high performance and they're looking up to all of us, or the ones that are there week in week out, we set such a high performance standard. I'll proudly say that the women set such a great standard
Yeah.
of high performance, and like people know then when they come in kind of what's to be expected of them, and that's the way it should be. And even the way you're talking earlier on about like staying in a hotel, and I don't want to sound ungrateful at all
No, no.
for the life that I get to live. And like, although there's good days and there's bad days, these days don't last forever, and it is a short career. And like, I know that as soon as it's all over, I will miss it forevermore. So but the days where I catch myself being like, oh God, do I have to do this now today? I really try to stop myself when I get to that mindset, because I'm like, there'll be a day where this won't be an option for me anymore. So sorry, I'm going off on a tangent again, but yeah,
No, you're
unbelievable to
fine.
be surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded by. I'm just so lucky, and you create such close bonds with those people because you are with them twice a day, 5 days a week, and then when you go
Yeah.
traveling, you could be away with them for a month. So you know, you really just create
They're
such good
they're
friendships
an
with them.
extension. They're an extension of your family, essentially, is what happens,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
that's what it becomes, and that's important. Again, we talked off air a bit, and I'm not going to keep you too much longer. We talked off air about the incredible work that Aidan Walsh is doing. Aidan's going to come on with me later on in the new year, and I mean, he's breaking down barriers in a way that I guess nobody would have envisioned and would have seen. It's incredible. There's an awful lot of change right now, and what he's doing is he's explaining in his way, and I would say very quickly in a way that only Aidan Walsh could do, because he's been on both sides of this. The change right now in the amateur world is it's a bit daunting, I would say, from my point of view, because sometimes we've a habit in Ireland of saying better the devil you know as you don't. But you mentioned to me off air about how the big change in when we switched from IBA, we're going to world boxing. It was it what how visible was it, and how palpable was it when you went to Liverpool to win that incredible medal in a couple of months ago now? Time is flying by on us, actually.
Oh, I know, I know. Well, yeah, I think we had been to the IBA World Championships in Serbia in February or March, and just I don't know, it's just the way the whole thing was run, and like, just didn't feel. I just didn't have a good feel about it. Now the two O'Rourke's came home with silver medals, and what a story for them as well. Two sisters from Roscommon to come home with world silver medals, like it's just unbelievable, like and like amazing for them.
Yeah,
Um, but like, yeah, I just didn't enjoy that whole experience, and I could just see that the days of IBA were numbered, or of our days with IBA were probably numbered.
yeah,
And we made the move then over to world boxing, and Liverpool was just such a breath of fresh air. Like, again, we had such a positive build up to it, and I think the atmosphere that the coaches set really is a key factor into how the
yeah,
team performs. Because I was even asked before I went to Liverpool, what does success look like for you coming away from this competition? And success for me looked like enjoying every step of it, because when I'm enjoying myself, that's when I'm able to do things without having to think too much about it and having the weight of the world on my shoulders. It was the same in Bangkok. That's why with all that pressure on me, I was able to perform, because I just felt so confident in myself. I was in a really happy mood despite the fact that there was so many targets on my
yeah.
back. But it's just mad. Like, I think the coaches really have done amazing at setting that positive atmosphere amongst the team, and just the whole thing. What happened? I think it was brilliant having the men actually as well. It was such a big team. There was, I think, 17 boxers, and like, great staff, and we had so much support and stuff. And the fact that it was only a quick flight over the water was brilliant, to have so many loved ones from home to be able to come and experience that as well.
Incredible stuff. And without getting too deep into it, I suppose it's something that's going to come along. There's change coming there again. There's a big change. We cannot talk about Irish boxing without mentioning the great man, the incredible, the one. I mean, the way I describe it is, because I really don't know what way it's going to go, is there'll be life before Zor Antia, and there'll be life after Zor Antia in Irish boxing. I mean, you've worked with the man hands on for your whole career, and talk to us a little bit about that. He leaves. I don't think you can fill those shoes, can you? The way I compare it is Jack Charlton in Ireland, Alex Ferguson at United, Zor
Yeah.
Antia with Ireland has been something different, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been there for how many years now? Like, it's, he's as when you think of Irish boxing, you just think of Zara in the corner. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
what a lot of people on the outside would even associate Irish boxing with. But like you said earlier, you referred to about people not liking change. This is a classic example of
Yeah,
people being scared of change, and because he's been there for so long, and the success that he's brought, and the expertise that he's brought to Ireland, which has essentially changed the way Irish boxing, like the trajectory of Irish boxing in the last number of years. Trying to fill his shoes is going to be difficult no matter who you get. Like you said, it's impossible to replace. I think people are irreplaceable because everyone has something else to bring, and things that maybe Zara would have been amazing at, other people mightn't be good at, but then it evens out. That's why I think Billy and Zara had a good relationship, because what one lacked, the other, was great at, and it was a great partnership. But like, who's to say that in a couple of years we won't be looking at the next wave? And
Yeah, for
it's a
sure.
difficult one because like the change, and everyone's panicking because like, oh my God, what are we going to do without Zara? But like, there was going to come a day where he had to move on eventually. It's
Yeah.
just, it is daunting when it does happen. But yeah, as I said, he's changed the way Irish boxing has been over the last 15 or 20 years, however long I can't even know. I don't even know how much, 23 years was it that he was here?
It's a long time. It's a long time.
A
And
long,
again,
long
Grania,
time.
in the blink of an eye, it's just
Yeah.
gone, and it's and that's not to understate what I mean. The great Nicholas Cruz and what my Austin Carruth and people like that have done in the past. It's not undermining anybody else. It's just it's a point in history now where we're at a stage where, and again, as I said, what comes, who's, I've no doubt the talent is there, and I've always said it's getting that blend and getting that measure right, and again, we're going to see the media play its games and tricks over the next few days and weeks. But
Yeah.
whatever happens, you got to trust the powers that be to get things right, because the talent has never been at the better peak than it's at. And you girls now are
Yeah.
leading the line. The girls for the last Olympics and this Olympics, I believe, are the ones that because the lads are at, not understating his lads, and I'm not going to have Jack Marley booting my door down and
Mm.
kicking my ass. I've had Adam Alanian on last week. There's plenty of competition for those lads as well. Big,
Yeah.
big, big talent. But it's a special time. Grania, the last thing I'm going to say to you is, we mentioned earlier on, Christmas is coming. It's a great family time. It's a great event, but it's also a boxer's worst nightmare. There's food left, right, and centre. You've got one eye on the elites in the new year. Friends and teammates become foes. Do you tighten the circle for the next few
Yeah.
weeks? How does it go? Does it just get the head down and get working? You're all used to this. You're doing it so long, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a bit of a different one because like we've been in camp in Dublin for majority of this year, and it's always that kind of bit of instability almost when you go back to the clubs to prepare for the nationals, because I'm not messing. It actually is mad. Your Tuesday to Friday is set up. You're training at this time, you're eating at this time, you're training again at this time, you're showering at this time, and everything is just done so routine based. And then you're sent home, and you kind of, you structure your own sessions, and you're in communication with your club coach. Like my club coach now is Noel Burke in Tala,
Yeah,
in St. Mary's in Tala, and
St Mary's.
a shout out to him as well. He's been an amazing role model for me throughout the last couple of years, and just such a great mentor to have. So I've been working closely with him, and it's actually nice to have that different perspective as well, and being immersed fully in the club life, because you don't often get to train in your club that much when you're in the high performance all the time, because the weekends you do be knackered, and then you're traveling so much, and between the jigs and the reels, you don't really get as much bonding time
Yeah.
with your club coach as you would when you're preparing for the nationals. So it's been nice the last couple of weeks to train with him, and I'm sure I'll be training with him flat out all throughout the Christmas. And I'll be doing bits and bobs with Dima as well. Dima's never too far away, so I'm just so lucky with the people I have around me, and even having the likes of Kelly in the club to spar with. Like, where am I? I'm never going to get better sparring than that. Like, so yeah, it's an exciting
Well,
time, but
listen,
the elites
I
are
would say,
fast approaching.
and I've no doubt either, Grania, that they would be saying the exact same things. They're lucky to have you. You're an invaluable part of any team. You're an invaluable part of any community that you're part of. I've always been honoured and proud to say from day one, it's been great, and I've never had a doubt. And I've said this to you for some reason. I don't know why. You just get a feeling, and I've never, all those days, and listen, I was chatting to you throughout lockdowns. I was seeing the stuff you were doing in the community through the horrendous stuff that went on, and you were able to lift people. Some people just have a gift. I said to Niall Kennedy, my big pal, big shout out to Niall down in Wexford. Nothing to do with the fact that he's 6'5" and a guard. It's not that doesn't mean people are always going to listen. Sometimes you just have a gift, and when you speak or you have a personality or an attribute, you're just people are drawn to you. And girl, you've had that from day one. It's always been a privilege and a pleasure. I want to leave the last few words with you. Shout out, because there's a lot of people make the dream work as much as you do, but there's a lot of people behind you and are invaluable to you. So I don't want to even try. So I leave it to you to give them a shout out. And thanks again for taking time this morning.
Well, thank you for the lovely, kind words. I'm humbled to hear that. But yeah, like I said, I've been so lucky with the people that I've got to share this journey with, and that's really been the highlight of when I look back at everything now. I'm still on my journey. I'm nowhere near finished yet, but like getting to meet the people that I've met, like yourself, and all the different people that you come in contact with. I had it on my Instagram, the story and stuff today about like the connections that you make with people, and like
Yeah.
when you're around like-minded people, people are so warm and like wanting to help you out in any way they can. And like you spoke already about like what club coaches do and how little they get in return for that. Like they do that completely voluntary and they give up all their time. So for Dima, for Noel, for all the coaches, I have to say a big shout out to Damien Kennedy as well, who's now stepped into the interim head
Yeah, of
coaching
course.
position, trying to, it's been a tough time as well to try and step in for Zor. Like, and of course there's going to be criticism, but like he could be a great fit for the job. I have to say he's been a massive part of my journey and helping me to qualify and everything. So I just a huge shout out to him. All my family members, a big shout out as well to Tullamore Nissan. They have been sponsoring
Oh
me
yeah.
for, I'm not messing, I think 7 years now. And for 3 of those years, I could offer them absolutely nothing. And that's when you really see people who are in your corner. When you don't have anything to offer them, how they actually stand by you. And I have to say, they have been just unbelievable like support to me throughout the years, and I'm so proud to represent them. So yeah, I don't want to forget people, but like there's a million one people that I could shout out to that have helped me throughout the years. But hopefully my results and stuff will give me a bigger platform to be able to give them the recognition they deserve.
Well, listen, Khaleesi had her dragon. Gráinne Walsh has her Nissan. You know what I mean? We got to travel. We can't be traveling around on electric scooters or anything else. You get everything. You've earned everything. You deserve everything you get. Offaly sport right now is on an absolute crescendo. And as a Kildare man, it's not easy to say that. It's not easy to be looking across the border, especially here in Erthangan, thinking this the noisy neighbours. It's like a Man United
Yeah.
fan looking at City. It gets tricky. But Gráinne, again, it's been a joy. It's been a privilege. I thank you for taking time. I don't try not to torment you too much, but it's always happy to chat to you, and it's always been great to be able to tell the story because there's a few chapters left in this book yet, I think.
Definitely. Thanks so much for the platform to be able to speak as well. I appreciate it.